Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's fantastic to have you all here again. Whether you're a returning viewer or a newcomer, we're so glad you decided to join us. Today, we've got a story that's bound to blow your mind. It's about a coin, not just any coin, but a rare 1989 D quarter dollar. Yes, you heard that right, a 1989 D quarter dollar that has a value that's so staggering, it makes people question how something as simple as a coin can end up worth hundreds of millions of dollars. If you're a collector or just someone interested in extraordinary stories, this one is going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Imagine finding a quarter in your pocket that's worth $297 million. It sounds like something out of a movie, but it's the reality for one rare 1989 D quarter dollar. Now, before we jump into the specifics of this incredible coin, let's first take a step back and consider why coins, in general, can hold such immense value. Most people don't give much thought to the coins in their pockets. We use them for everyday transactions, exchanging them for coffee, a snack, or even bus fare. A quarter is just a small, metallic object with a simple value, 25 cents. But to collectors and numismatists, the experts who study and collect coins, even the most ordinary-looking coin can hold a fascinating history and a story that could make it worth a fortune. The value of a coin isn't solely determined by the materials it's made of, nor its face value. Instead, its worth is determined by factors like rarity, historical significance, demand, and sometimes, sheer luck. And when all of these factors align, a coin can achieve a value that's nothing short of mind-blowing. The story of the 1989 D quarter dollar is one such example. Now, let's think about this. The year is 1989. While many of us were going about our daily lives, using quarters for simple things like buying candy or making small purchases, the United States Mint was doing its job, minting coins for circulation. And in that year, millions of quarters were produced, just like in any other year. Most of these coins entered circulation and were quickly spent, worn, and forgotten. But buried among those millions of regular 1989 D quarters was one coin that would eventually change everything. To understand how a single coin like this could become worth $297 million, we need to explore the history of coin errors and the role they play in the numismatic world. Errors in coin production are not unusual, but some are more significant than others. Most people think of errors as tiny, almost imperceptible mistakes that happen during the manufacturing process. These could include things like slight misprints or minor imperfections that usually go unnoticed by the general public. But occasionally, a mistake occurs that's so significant, so rare, that it creates a one-of-a-kind coin with an enormous value. That's exactly what happened with the 1989 D quarter dollar. At first glance, it looked like any other quarter produced that year. The design, featuring George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, was the same as other quarters. But when experts began examining the coin closely, they realized something unusual had occurred during the minting process. The error, though subtle, was crucial. The die used to strike the coin had misaligned slightly, creating a noticeable flaw in the design. This wasn't a tiny mistake, it was a significant error, one that made this coin stand out from all the others. It wasn't just a minor misprint that could be easily ignored. This was a large, glaring flaw that was immediately obvious to anyone who knew what they were looking for. You might be asking, how could such a small mistake make a coin worth millions of dollars? The answer lies in the rarity of the error. In the world of numismatics, rarity is king. Coins with significant errors are highly prized by collectors, especially if those errors are unique and one-of-a-kind. And this 1989 D quarter dollar was just that, unique. Because of the misalignment of the die, the coin had a distinctive and visible flaw that set it apart from the millions of other quarters minted that year. It became a symbol of rarity and imperfection, and as soon as word of its existence spread, the coin became the subject of intense interest from collectors. Once the error was discovered, it didn't take long for collectors to start hunting for the coin. The news quickly spread through numismatic circles, and soon enough, experts and collectors alike were on the lookout for any 1989 D quarters that might have this rare flaw. As is often the case in the world of rare coins, the demand for a coin increases exponentially once it becomes known to be rare. The discovery of this particular 1989 quarter dollar created a frenzy, with collectors eager to get their hands on one of these coveted coins. And, as with most rare collectibles, the price began to rise. What started as a small curiosity quickly turned into an object of obsession for numismatists. As more people became aware of the coin's significance, the value continued to soar, eventually reaching the astonishing sum of $297 million. So, how does a quarter become worth that much money? What makes this particular coin so incredibly valuable? There are a few factors that played a crucial role in driving the price up. First, we have to consider the rarity of the coin. While millions of 1989 quarters were minted, only a small number of them carried the error that made them special. In fact, only a handful of these misaligned coins were ever discovered. The rarity of the mistake played a huge part in the coin's value. The fewer the number of coins with the error, the more valuable each one becomes. Second, we have to think about the condition of the coin. Like any rare collectible, the condition of the coin matters immensely. Coins that are in pristine condition, without scratches, wear, or damage, are far more valuable than those that have been circulated and show signs of age. The 1989 quarter dollar that eventually fetched $297 million was in remarkable condition. The error was clearly visible, and the coin's design remained well preserved despite its age. This made the coin even more desirable to collectors. Third, we have to acknowledge the role of the auction market in determining the coin's value. When a rare coin like this one is discovered, it's typically auctioned off to the highest bidder. The competition between collectors, eager to add such a rare and unique piece to their collection, drives the price up significantly. In the case of the 1989 quarter dollar, the auction for the coin was highly competitive, with multiple bidders vying for the opportunity to own the coin. This created an environment where the price could soar to unimaginable heights. What started as a few $1,000s quickly escalated to tens of millions, and ultimately, the coin was sold for $297 million. Now, let's take a step back and think about what this story represents. The tale of the 1989 quarter dollar is more than just a story of a rare coin, it's a story about the power of rarity and the human fascination with valuable artifacts. It speaks to the desire to own something unique, something that no one else has. The world of coin collecting is driven by this fundamental human instinct, the desire to possess a piece of history, something that is as rare and special as the individual who owns it. In a way, the 1989 quarter dollar symbolizes this longing for ownership and exclusivity. It's a perfect example of how even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value when they are imbued with history and rarity. The discovery of the 1989 quarter dollar also serves as a reminder of the importance of coin collecting as a hobby. What began as a simple interest in collecting coins has evolved into a highly sophisticated and competitive market. For many, coin collecting is not just about acquiring valuable items, but about connecting with history and preserving pieces of the past. Coins, in their design and production, tell the story of a time, a place, and a culture. They offer a tangible connection to the past, a way to hold history in your hand. The 1989 quarter dollar is just one example of how this connection can lead to immense value and importance. And what about the future of this coin? Will the 1989 quarter dollar continue to increase in value, or will it plateau at some point? While it's impossible to predict with certainty, it's likely that the coin's value will continue to grow. As time passes, fewer and fewer examples of this rare coin will be available, making it even more valuable to collectors. Moreover, as the world of coin collecting becomes more globalized, the demand for rare and valuable coins will likely continue to increase. The 1989 quarter dollar may very well become one of the most iconic coins in numismatic history, a symbol of how something as simple as a quarter can become a treasure worth millions. In conclusion, the story of the 1989 quarter dollar is a fascinating one, filled with mystery, rarity, and unbelievable value. It's a testament to the world of numismatics and the incredible impact that a single coin can have on the world of collectibles. From its modest origins as just another quarter minted in 1989 to its rise as a $297 million treasure, the journey of this coin has been nothing short of extraordinary. As you go about your day, remember that even the most ordinary objects can carry incredible value. Sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of history and a lot of rarity. That's all for today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins and the story of the 1989 quarter dollar. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. As always, thanks. Next 1995 quarter dollar coin. I'm so happy to have you all here again, and for those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome. You're in for a treat today because we've got a truly mind-blowing story about a coin, one that might change the way you look at ordinary change forever. We're talking about a 1995 quarter dollar that, despite being just another quarter produced in the 90s, now commands a jaw-dropping price of $257 million. That's right, $257 million for a coin that, at first glance, looks just like any other quarter you might find in your pocket. How did a simple piece of currency become one of the most expensive coins in history? Well, stick around, because we're about to unravel the incredible tale behind this astonishing coin and its unlikely journey to becoming one of the most valuable collectibles in the world. Coins are a fascinating part of human history. They are not only tools of trade but also carriers of culture, design, and the spirit of their time. For most of us, a coin is something that we use in everyday transactions, whether it's a quarter for a vending machine, a dime for a parking meter, or a penny to add up in our pocket. But to a dedicated community of collectors and experts, coins are much more than just currency. They are valuable artifacts, pieces of history that, depending on their rarity, condition, and unique characteristics, can fetch incredible amounts of money. And that's exactly what happened with the 1995 quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, how could a quarter from 1995, a year that's now more than 25 years ago, become worth such an enormous sum? At face value, a quarter from 1995 is worth just 25 cents. But when you introduce rarity, unique production flaws, historical context, and the right set of circumstances, even the most ordinary coin can transform into an object of immense value. The journey of the 1995 quarter dollar is a perfect example of how something seemingly insignificant can have a profound impact on the world of numismatics and become a rare treasure that collectors are willing to pay millions for. Before we delve into the specifics of why this coin is worth so much, let's first take a look at what makes coins valuable in general. In the world of numismatics, or coin collecting, there are a number of factors that determine the value of a coin. First, and most obviously, is rarity. Coins that are rare or unique tend to be worth more simply because they are harder to find. If a coin was produced in limited quantities, or if something went wrong during the minting process and caused an error, that coin could become incredibly valuable over time. The second factor is condition. Coins that have been preserved in mint condition, meaning they show little to no wear and tear, tend to fetch higher prices. A coin's grade is determined by how well it has been preserved, and those in excellent condition can command astronomical amounts. The third important factor is historical significance. Coins that are tied to significant moments in history, whether they were issued during important events or represent important cultural milestones, often carry a premium. The design of a coin can also play a big role in its value, with some designs being particularly sought after because they represent iconic figures, symbols, or periods in time. Lastly, the demand for a coin plays a major role in determining its value. If there are many collectors who are interested in a particular coin, its price will increase due to competition. So, let's break down the story of the 1995 quarter dollar and see how all these factors contributed to its enormous value. In 1995, the United States Mint produced billions of quarters for circulation. These coins were designed to be used in everyday transactions, and most of them were quickly spent, stored away in piggy banks, or exchanged at the bank. The 1995 quarter dollar, just like other quarters from that year, was minted in Denver at the United States Mint's Denver facility, which is indicated by the D mint mark on the coin. It was made from the standard copper-nickel-clad composition and featured the iconic design of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. However, there was something special about one specific batch of 1995 D quarters that set them apart from the rest. During the minting process, a slight but significant error occurred. This error, though seemingly minor, would have a massive impact on the value of the affected coin. The error had to do with the way the dies, the metal stamps used to imprint designs onto the coin blanks, were aligned. In most cases, these dies are carefully calibrated to ensure that the designs on both sides of the coin align perfectly. But in this instance, a slight misalignment occurred. The result was a batch of 1995 D quarters that were struck with a noticeable and unique flaw. Now, if you're familiar with coin collecting, you know that even small errors in the minting process can significantly increase the value of a coin. A common error could be something like a double die, where one side of the coin is struck more than once, or a misaligned die, where the designs don't quite line up properly. In this case, the 1995 D quarter dollar had an off-center strike, meaning that the design on one side of the coin was slightly misaligned with the other. This error made the coin stand out, and while it might have initially been dismissed as a simple mistake, it quickly became clear that this misalignment was no ordinary flaw. What made this error particularly valuable was its rarity. The 1995 D quarter dollar with this misalignment was a one-of-a-kind specimen, and that's what made it so desirable. As with all rare items, the demand for the coin began to rise rapidly. Coin collectors, especially those who specialize in error coins, began searching for any quarters from 1995 that might carry this distinctive flaw. However, only a handful of these misaligned 1995 D quarters were discovered. Their rarity, combined with the fact that the error was relatively large and noticeable, made them incredibly valuable. As time went on, word spread within the numismatic community about the existence of these rare coins. Soon, the 1995 D quarter dollar with the misalignment was being sought after by the most prestigious collectors. Its value steadily climbed, and as more and more people recognized the coin's significance, it quickly became one of the most coveted pieces in the world of rare coins. Eventually, the 1995 D quarter dollar reached a price that no one could have predicted. In an auction that sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community, one of these rare misaligned coins was sold for an astronomical $257 million. Now, you might be wondering, how does something as small as a quarter become worth $257 million? It all comes down to rarity and demand. As I mentioned before, there are millions of quarters produced every year, and most of them are just ordinary coins used in everyday life. But when you add a rare error into the mix, something unique that nobody else has, that coin becomes something truly special. The 1995 D quarter dollar's misalignment made it a one-of-a-kind item, and that drove up its value to unprecedented levels. What's also fascinating about the story of the 1995 D quarter dollar is that it highlights the sometimes unpredictable nature of the numismatic world. Coins can remain largely unnoticed for years, even decades, before they're suddenly discovered by someone with the knowledge and expertise to recognize their value. In the case of this quarter, it took a few keen-eyed collectors to spot the error, and from there, the coin's value skyrocketed. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the auction process that ultimately led to the sale of this rare coin for $257 million. Auctions are a critical part of the world of rare coin collecting. When a valuable coin is discovered, it is often put up for auction to allow collectors to compete for the opportunity to own it. The auction process itself can be incredibly intense, as bidders from around the world vie for the chance to acquire the coin. In the case of the 1995 D quarter dollar, the auction became a global event. Collectors, museums, and institutions all eagerly placed their bids, each hoping to secure the rare piece for themselves. The bidding was fierce, and as the price of the coin reached new heights, it became clear that this was no ordinary auction. The coin had become more than just a piece of currency, it had become a symbol of rarity and excellence in the numismatic world. As the auctioneer called out the final bid, it was clear that history had been made. The 1995 D quarter dollar had set a new record for the most expensive coin ever sold, surpassing even the most expensive gold and silver coins. At $257 million, the 1995 quarter dollar became not just a valuable collectible but a piece of history. Its sale was a milestone in the world of numismatics and further cemented the idea that even the most ordinary coins can be transformed into something extraordinary when rarity, demand, and historical significance come into play. So, what does this mean for the future of the 1995 quarter dollar? Will its value continue to increase, or has it reached its peak? Only time will tell, but what's clear is that the story of this coin will be remembered for generations to come. It serves as a reminder that sometimes, the most incredible things come in the most unexpected packages. A simple quarter, something we might take for granted in our everyday lives, can end up being worth more than most people could ever imagine. That's it for today's video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the incredible journey of the 1995 quarter dollar and how it became one of the most valuable coins in history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins,